All right, guys, welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to be handling the objections, some of the main objections that we get in the DMs. And I put together a little worksheet here, kind of a guide with the responses that I use. This is to be used as a template. Um, Again, you can take these and make them your own, make them a little bit more personable, um, just so that way we get the same message across. All right, so one of the first questions that I get all the time is what's the catch? A good way I like to respond is that's a totally fair question. There is no catch, just the strategy. We only work with people who qualify and actually want to use the money to grow. Would that be you? Always going and asking a question after responding. That way we can continue the conversation. The next one is the cost. That I get that all the time. What's the cost? So there's a couple of ways that we can handle this. Normally, I'll send this message. It usually diffuses the situation and makes them book a call. We can either do a flat fee or a percentage of the total amount funded. We usually discuss that on a Zoom call. Once I build out your funding strategy, we can figure out a pay structure that would work best for you. Fair enough? Most people will say, okay, yeah, that's fair. Every once in a while, you get somebody that is continuing to be persistent on a price. More than likely, you don't want to work with that person anyways. They're just shopping. Um, and if that's the case, then I'll usually pressure, okay, well, what's a number that you expect? What have you seen before? What's the best offer you've gotten? Things like that. And I'll do that in the messages before we ever get on a call to try to kill that objection for the closer. All right, so the next one that I get all the time is what to do after somebody has messaged you and then they stop responding. They ghost you, right? One of the messages I like to send is this here. Hey, so and so, just checking in. Did you still want to move forward or should I circle back for another time? Spots do fill up fast and I'd hate for you to miss out. This kind of builds urgency. It's not too much pressure and it leaves the ball in their court. Next is the people that say, okay, I'll get to it. I'll do it later. I don't have time right now. Okay, no worries. When is a better time so I can follow up with you and see if they'll give you a time? Oh, next week, I'm on vacation, this, that. And then just set a note in there. Okay, no worries. I will follow up with you next week. Is I'm not ready. Um, and how I usually like to respond is I totally understand. Is it the timing or are you still weighing out all your options? Right? And what we're trying to do is figure out if they're serious or are they just shopping around? Is it not the right time right now because you're busy? Is another time going to work better for you? Or are you just shopping around and trying to see what the best price is? Okay, that determines on how much follow-up we should do. Uh, the next one here is why do you need my credit info? I get asked all the time. I thought this was no docs. I only want to use my EIN number. I don't want to use a personal guarantor. Okay. And this is the message that I like to respond. Since the banks are not asking for documentations or proof of income, instead, the banks will take a look at the owner's personal credit profile to determine how much credit they will give your business. With a solid personal credit profile, we're usually able to get your business 2 to 3 times your personal credit limits. Would that help you? Usually, after that, they kind of get the idea. Okay, well, if they still don't, then I just tell them straight up, look, your business is new. There's nothing to judge your business off of. So instead, the banks are judging the owner. If the owner has taken care of their personal credit profile, then they'll give your business money. If the owner has a jacked up personal credit score and they've never paid anything back, they're not going to give your new business any money. Make sense? Usually, if I explain it like that, then they say, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, it makes sense. But that's not what other people say. I understand that's not what other people said. That's how it is. Okay. And we just move on. The next one that I get all the time is, can I do this myself? Or why can't I do this myself? Okay. Now, I always tell them, yeah, you can definitely do it yourself. But most clients miss out on 50 to $100,000 just by not knowing the right order, the right banks, the right things to put on the applications. Would you want to see how we can help you maximize that, or would you want to take the chance by yourself? Okay. Do you have the time to do it by yourself? People are just asking questions. If they wanted to do it by themselves, they would have done it. There's some reason they came to you. And sometimes I'll ask that, well, why haven't you tried it? Why haven't you tried it by yourself already? Oh, well, I did, but I got denied. Okay. So that's the reason why you need a company like ours. Now, one of the other questions I get here is, how much funding can I get? I get asked all the time, oh, well, how much can you get me? Well, how much? How much? How much? What can I expect? Well, how much am I going to pay you? How much are you going to get me? I don't know. It depends on your credit, but usually 2 to 3 times your personal limits. What's your total personal credit card? All the time, that kind of kills all the people that say they want $150,000, but then they only have $1,000 personal credit card limits. They'll stop you there and be like, oh, but I only have $1,000. So you're telling me I can only get $3,000? Yes. I mean, maybe we can get them 5, 10,000, but we know we can't get them 100. And it kind of brings their expectations back to reality. And then we can suggest other options. Look, we can build it up. You can use a credit partner, something like that. Now, the next one here is what happens after the 0% period ends. I get asked all the time, oh, for 12 to 18 months, I needed a longer period. Can you do 24 months? What happens after the 12 to 18 months? After the 12 to 18 months, standard interest rates apply. But we teach you to use the funds for a fast ROI. Then roll that into new 0% cards each year to avoid interest. You want to learn the strategy? Okay. Very simple. It tells them what happens after the terms. Standard interest rates apply, but we give them a solution and then we ask a question to continue. Okay, so the next one here is I need to talk to my spouse or business partner. The message that I like to say is makes total sense. My calendar fills up fast. So if I can get back to you by the end of the day, would that be a good time for you to speak with your business partner to see what time the three of us can get on a Zoom call to make sure this fits your business goals? Usually what this does is it tells them, okay, yeah, I can speak to them by then and, at least get you a time that we can all get on a Zoom call. That way things don't get lost in translation and you don't have them jacking up your pitch to their business partner and their business partner says, oh, no, that don't make no sense. Okay. Now, this next question here is I've been denied before. I don't get this too often, but if it does, we can send a message similar to this. That happens more than you think. Sometimes it's just applying in the wrong order. Want me to take a look at your credit and give you honest feedback? I don't like to get into too much, like you don't know the reasons why, and it's hard to determine just from a DM conversation. If everything else seems good and they don't know why they got denied, jump on a Zoom call, take a look at their report, take a look at their business, and find out what could have been the reason. Okay. The next one is I don't have a business yet. Okay. I like to say you're still good. We can help you set up an LLC and guide you through it. If you want to see how simple it is, let me know. We can set up a call. I use zenbusiness.com and I help people set up their businesses all the time. If they have a good profile and they have everything else, and all you need to do is set up your EIN number, set up your business, take 10, 15 minutes, walk them through how to do it on Zen Business. You wait 2 or 3 days for them to get their EIN number, and then you can start processing them for funding. So we don't have to lose out on a client just because they don't have a business. It's an extra service we can provide. It only takes a couple of minutes. You can charge for it if you like. I do it as a complimentary service just to get them started. Okay. Why can't you just tell me what cards to get? Okay. People, I have had this question a couple of times. Well, why can't you just tell me what cards to get? Why can't you just tell me what banks to go to? It doesn't work like that, right? We take a look at your profile. Yes, there's certain banks. Yes, there's certain orders, things like that. But it also depends a lot on their personal credit profile. I'm not going to send you to a Chase RM if you only have $1,000 in credit card limits and none of them are with Chase. Make sense? So what I like to tell them is each bank has different rules depending on your profile. That's why we tailor the strategy. Want me to explain how we can pick the right ones for you? And then we can bring them back into our DM script. Okay. Now, do these report to my personal credit? We all know the answer. No, they don't. They report to your business, so your personal and your personal score stays safe. Would that be a game changer for you? Very simple. We're not giving too much detail, but at the same time, we're answering their question and we're providing a new question to continue the conversation. Okay. I'm not comfortable sending my info. I get that sometimes, that one, and I'm not comfortable clicking on a link. Totally get that. The form is secure and used by banks. Want to see a preview before you decide? And we can send them the link and let them look at it and see that there's nothing fishy about the link. Okay. If that doesn't work, sometimes I'll ask them to send their phone number and I'll give them a quick, 2, 3 minute phone call. Hey, so and so, this is Steve from A, B, and C company. You asked us to give you a phone call. This is how everything works, or the link is legit, da da da. Answer whatever questions, make them feel comfortable, direct them back to a Zoom call. Okay. Next here is I don't have 3 to 5K liquid right now. This I get a lot. Now depending on the model that you're selling and if you're taking money up front or on the back end, different things, I still like to ask this question because it does help you have a good understanding of where the client is at as far as liquidity wise and if they can pay you. But the message that I like to send is that's okay. It's not a deal breaker. However, it does help to show stability to the banks before applying for business credit. Will you have access to those funds soon? Okay. And if they say no, then you use your discretion and you can say, okay, well, get back to me when you do, especially if they have kind of a thin profile. I would use that as a disqualifying question, like, hey, get back to me later. If they have a good amount of personal credit card limits, I kind of dismiss it and say, hey, look, it's not a big deal. No worries. We can figure out another option. Let's schedule a call and see what we can do. Okay. Now, the last one here is I've seen cheaper options. Okay. Sometimes people are just price shopping and they want to get the cheapest price. And they're saying, do you charge up front? Do you charge back end? They already kind of have talked to some people they already know. And now they're like, oh, well, I've seen cheaper, especially if they've heard a price from you already. Uh, so a message that I like to use is I hear that, but we go beyond just filling out applications. Strategy matters. If you're trying to get the most, we can compare what we really do differently. And we can do that on a Zoom call. Okay. And then you really get to break down what exactly your offer is and how you differ from other companies. But at the end of the day, I try not to get into that because I try to flip it back on them and let them, okay, well, do you want the cheapest price or do you want the best value? Are you looking for the best results? If you want the best results, this is what I can do. This is how we do things differently. As far as the price, if you want a cheaper price, then I'm not the cheapest around. You can possibly go with somebody else. But these are the results that we get. Or you can take off things. Okay, well, I can try and work with you on the price, but we won't do inquiry deletion. Or we're not going to build out, or we're not going to send you to RMs, or we're not going to build out a full strategy. We'll just do a couple bank applications. Different things that you can do to rework a personal strategy for somebody.